And we are live. What's going on, everyone? It's live with Kenny, episode 68. I hope you guys are doing well. I know I am. And I want to talk about conformity for a little bit. And I think it's driving us off a cliff. Now, the reason I decided to title this podcast episode, live stream episode, Conformity is Destroying Critical Thinking, is Trump derangement syndrome. I think Trump derangement syndrome is the biggest, I guess, illustration of what I am talking about in our country, right? So I want to open up with this fantastic ad created by RFK's team, and it kind of want to create the point that I'm trying to go for of how conformity is destroying critical thinking because we are literally conditioned, and this is you could call it brainwashing, psyop, psychological operation, whatever you want, but I'm gonna show you how exactly they literally train people, unsuspecting people, to have a conditioned reaction towards something, or in this case, someone. Let's take a look.
Are you or your loved ones suffering from illnesses such as TDS, also known as Trump derangement syndrome? Do you dismiss or deny the current issues facing our country, such as historic inflation, illegal immigration, corporate corruption, World War III escalations, and the chronic disease epidemic? Are you willing to elect someone who was the least popular vice president in modern history, and who offers no policy or vision for America simply because your brain keeps telling you anyone but Trump? If so, you might be struggling from TDS. Introduce
So I don't want to keep playing it because I'm nervous about copyright, but it just goes to show how well conformity, mental conditioning continues to literally drive people into a cliff, right? And I kind of want to continue on this point is that I just had the video, but I want to continue on this point that the fact that these people, the left wings, they control media, uh, media, entertainment. They control all these institutions, education. As you know, there's a lot of stats that show that education faculty members are all to the left. Breaking: the judge overseeing Elon Musk and X defamation lawsuit against Soros-backed Media Matters just denied their motion to dismiss. Media Matters could now be forced to pay back all the ad revenue X has lost as a result of their lies. And this is something that socialists are known for, right? People on the left are tend to known for. They manipulate X to coerce many advertisers to leave the platform. They made it look like X was serving ads next to hate speech, but in reality, they set the whole thing up to frame Elon and the platform. And this is the framing that I'm talking about. I rail against the left a lot about is the fact that they'll go through any lengths to show, oh look how dangerous this is. They take things out of context. They try to frame things because they want people to arrive at a certain conclusion. And they like to portray themselves, oh, we're the party of unity, we're the party of this, we're the party of that. But in reality, they're not. They're extremists, right? They project onto what they're doing onto their opponents. Recently, a Democrat state representative from Texas left the Democratic Party, and this was her comments on her way out. So far left, so deep into progressive abyss, Dem Texas state rep rips Dems, joins the GOP. And we've been seeing this constantly on the Democratic Party. And for some reason, we still have this mind in our, like, they still want to call Trump far right. They still want to they want to call conservatives far right. And in reality, I'm like, whose party members are switching over to which party? Like, make it make sense. You got more Democrats leaving the Democratic Party to join the Republican Party than the Republicans joining up to be in the Democratic Party. And even the Republicans, like forgot his name, and Adam Kinzinger, even though he's a never Trumper, he hasn't switched parties. Why hasn't he switched? Why he stays a Republican? And this is the questions I think many people should be asking themselves. Hey, if this party is so far right extremist, if it's mega extremist, why are former Democrats leaving the party to go over there? Like, make it make sense. And this is the kind of conformity that I'm talking about, is that literally people are being conditioned to see the extreme left as neutral, as the center. And this is one thing I think is the biggest conformity that these people have been able to get away with, is the fact that journalism, I point out U.S. journalism is controlled by the Democrats pretty much. 96% of U.S. journalists are Democrats, and they have framed things to make their position seem like the middle position. So you have a progressive making a bunch of talking points, making a bunch of framings, and acting like their current position where they're at on the Overton window as the center. So I want to highlight this video of a science experiment showing the effects of conformity, and I think it's an interesting um, illustration of what is going on in real time, because now we have social media. Now you have big tech, who you guys already know, they overwhelmingly donate to the Democratic Party, and how they can create a fake sort of consensus that makes unsuspecting people buy into that and say, oh, I guess that's the normal. We have seen far leftism be normalized for decades, to a point where when we get someone who's actually moderate, who's actually slightly on the right of right of center, we frame them as far right extremists, because these journalists who controls these mainstream media, most mainstream media outlets are left wing. They have conditioned us in a way to make them seem like the left, progressivism, is somehow center left, when in reality it's far left. And this is kind of what I want to highlight here in this live stream. So let's take a quick look.
The Ash experiment is one of psychology's oldest and most popular pieces of research. A volunteer is told that he's taking part in a visual perception test. What he doesn't know is that the other participants are actors, and he's the only person taking part in the real test, which is actually about group conformity.
Please begin. The experiment you will be taking part in today involves the perception of line length. Your task will be simply to look at the line here on the left and indicate which of the three lines on the right is equal to it in length. So, for example, if you...
The actors have been told to match the wrong lines. The volunteer will be monitored to see if he gives the correct answer, or if he goes along with the opinion of the group and gives the wrong answer. In the first test, the correct answer is 2.
1. 1.
1.
2.
1.
Once again, the correct answer is 2.
3.
3.
3.
3.
3.
So this is how it starts. Like, literally, let's play a game. Kamala Harris, she's not the border czar. But you said she's not the border czar. And they just keep repeating it over and over again. She's not the border czar. But she's in charge of immigration. That's exactly what you categorize as a border czar. No, she's not the border czar. Like, imagine that. Kamala Harris not being the border czar is like telling somebody, hey, here's your job. I want you to pick up trash, routinely clean the bathrooms, and if you see any mess, you're in charge of cleaning it up. Oh, so I'm a janitor. No. You're not a janitor. You're just in charge of XYZ. You're gonna go crazy. You're gonna be like, yo, I'm a janitor. No. You're not a janitor. You're not a janitor. You're just in charge of these tasks. And this is the same game that the media is playing. They called somebody the border czar. Now that is not politically convenient for them to tie their candidate, their preferred candidate, to the border, because right now the border is a big issue right now in many voters' eyes. She's not the border czar. And literally the same game is being played with us at a national scale. Media. What did Malcolm X once said about the media? Is the most dangerous entity in the Western Hemisphere. It can make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. Right? Look at this story I'm about to highlight to you. Chicago Democrat mayor admits city faces $1 billion deficit in 2025 budget. Mayor Brandon Johnson admits that there are some hard choices to make in the months ahead, and those include cutting personnel, raising taxes, or both. Why is that? It's a sanctuary city. It's taking on people that is not equipped to take on. They don't like to highlight these things about illegal immigration, about mass migration. Literally, the United States of America can go broke if we literally take in the entire population of the world. If you take in even 25% of Africa into the United States, you'll bankrupt the whole country. How is that going to solve any problems? Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says that the city can expect $982 million deficit for its 2025 budget, almost double what it was his first year in office, already overspending. And you want to put another Democrat in the White House? You want to continue down this way? Remember when Kamala Harris made this argument? We're not going back. Yeah, we shouldn't go back to a Democrat. That's what we should say. We shouldn't go back to a Democrat administration. We shouldn't go back to someone who's trying to legalize illegal immigration, creating incentive structures where you're rewarding people to break your laws. This is insanity, guys. America, you can't fall for it. I don't care how many times they say, "Oh, it's a good thing." This is why they spam emotionalism. They spam emotionalism. Oh no, look, they just looking for a better opportunity. Yeah, but asylum isn't a right; it's a privilege. And today, it's the right of a country to deny entry into its country. Like, just like you have a right to dictate who gets to come into your house and not come into your house, we as a country have that same right. But these globalists want to keep acting like, oh no, it's perfectly moral and normal for people to have things. It's the same thing with the democracy. It's a democracy. They put it on their textbooks. It's a democracy. We're not a democracy. And it's these little subtle things like that is how they get to normalize a certain perspective on the masses. And I think we need to really call this out because Trump derangement syndrome is the perfect personification of this. Last live stream, I showed you how Donald Trump in 2012, how Whoopi treated him, how everyone just liked him. He was saying the exact same stuff he's saying right now in 2024. But 12 years later, all of a sudden, it's xenophobic, it's hateful, oh my God. It's a vanity project. And now they're trying to spin it and act like, oh no, it's normal. It's completely normal. Yeah, because now it's popular. Now they know it's the American people are more in favor of that now because of all the consequences that's happened through mass migration, like $982 million deficits in Chicago, gangs taking over, Venezuelan gangs taking over Colorado. Like, you reaping what you sow. These are the results of good intentions. They say the road to hell is led with good intentions. But they keep telling you, oh no, don't vote for Donald Trump. He's an oppressor. But you're going to vote for Kamala Harris, who's the descendant of a slave owner. Make it make sense, guys. Oh my gosh, she did so well in her interview. The last 4 interviews that Donald Trump did: 57 minutes with Dr. Phil, 57 minutes with Theo Vaughn, 2 hours and 3 minutes with Elon Musk, 1 hour and 11 minutes with Sean Ryan. Kamala's first interview in 40 days as a Democratic nominee, 18 minutes edited, no transcript, and with a chaperone. But what's the messaging? Oh, she's capable. She's qualified. She's intelligent. She's a strong leader. Uh-huh. What try to build, like, what kind of bills of goods they're trying to sell us, guys? What are they trying to sell us? Like, this has always been the Democratic Party. I don't know where this video is gonna go, but this has always been the Democratic Party. And in this next segment I'm about to show you, there's a favorite guy I like to reference on this channel. If you've been around for a while, you know who I'm talking about. Vance Ellison. I forgot his other name. He has a long name, but I'm gonna show you here. I'm gonna show you how much the Democrats lie about, like, damn near everything. They lie about their candidate. They lie about their history. They lie about the results and impact that these policies have, all because they can, because they know majority of college educators, right, college professors lean left. They're Democrats. That's where all the extremists are at. That's where the Marxists live. Marxists love to live at academia. They love to live in the college. This is why I said college campuses are an ideological church for the left. This is how conformity happens. You go in, let's say, like we're literally, I feel like we're really living in a simulation sometimes. If you're a Republican, right, you go into a college campus, your teacher's most likely a leftist. Then he's bringing out policies, perspective, or assignments where he wants you to take a certain view on things. And you feel that pressure to conform. And this is the game that the left love to play. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I always make this argument as a conservative. The conservatives argue on truth. People on the left, and the more far left you are, the more likely you are to do this. I believe liberals can still compete with conservatives when it comes to reality and truth. But the more left you go from liberal, the more they push you for perspective. They debate and argue based on perception. They're trying to control your perception. This is why they focus so much on framing, the appearance of something. Right? This is why they focus on emotional arguments. But I digress. We're gonna talk about this story, this trailer, and I think it's a great trailer that kind of backs up my point about conformity and how the Democratic Party has leveraged essentially lies and institutions to push their lies to condition the minds of the American people to think a certain way. Let's take a look.
The Democratic Party is the evilest organization in the history of the world. Since their inception in 1800, they've been the party of slavery, and after slavery, they became the party of the Confederacy.
Now, how did the Democrats make people believe that this is not them? Oh, we changed. Oh, the party switched. You change your methods, right? You just change your spots, but you're still portraying the same thing, right? Party of slavery and racism. Technically, I could see illegal immigrants as almost like slaves, like a peasant class, because in the end of the day, they can't provide for themselves. They have to be dependent on the government, just like who? Just like what? Slaves. And they're used as pawns in a game for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is still doing the same damn thing. It's just they express it differently now. Instead of being slaves, it's illegal immigrants. Because illegal immigrants can't really they can't really sustain themselves. Like imagine, it's hard for naturalized legal immigrants to make it in America right now. Inflation, food costs are up, are up. It's hard to make it out here on your own. And then you're gonna let illegal immigrants who crossed the border illegally, broke the law to come into this country, and you expect them to be able to sustain themselves? What job skills they have likely to even be sustainable in this country? They need a lot of support to remain in this country, to thrive in this country. And what benefit do you have to bringing them over the border and keeping them here in this country? Unless you benefit from it, and they do. Just like Democrats used to benefit from slavery, a lot of their big donors, and look, this is the past of the Democratic Party, a lot of their big donors were slave owners. Remember, the top 1% of society owned slaves. You had to be rich to own slaves. This is why I laugh when black people try to make this narrative that, oh, all white people are complicit in slavery. Only rich white people can have slaves. And hell, there was some black slave owners too. Like, make it make sense. There was like 5,000 black slave owners. But that never gets brought up. Why? Because you've been conditioned to think only white people were slaves. Slavery was a human sin. All of human history, slavery been a thing. But we want to pretend somehow America invented it. Like, make it make sense. That's Democrats for you. When they're caught on something, they try to spread the blame around. Or they try to make it murky because, like I said, they only focus on your perception. They don't argue on truth. They don't take any accountability. They don't accept any of their wrongdoing. Look at what Kamala helped do to our economy. She was a tie-breaking vote for most of these bills that passed, that if you look back, it tied into the cause of the inflation rate and the state of the economy today. Has she apologized for it? No. She actually doubled down and said, it's actually good. It's actually working. We just need to stay the course. That's Kamala Harris for you. Does the media challenge it? No, because they want you to vote for her. So they try to make this fake consensus. Oh, look, everyone likes Kamala Harris. Look, Kamala Harris is popular. Look at the polls. And a part of me starting to think the polls are operating in the same mechanism as that test that I show you about the psychological test that we just finished seeing. I digress.
After that, they started killing black people during Jim Crow era. You're voting for a party that tells you they are going to abort children up to the 9th month, castrate little boys, and call them little girls, mutilate little girls and cut off their breasts and give them puberty blockers.
And the funny part is, like imagine we have corporate America buying into this stuff. Oh, how do you identify? What? This is not reality? Like, literally, bro, do I need, I know not a lot of people watching today, but, oh, no, I moved it already. Oh, well. Literally, you sitting there, you saying, 2 plus 2 is 4. Everyone in the room, 5. No, it's 4, 5. And eventually you feel that pressure to conform. And this is what they're doing with transgenderism, literally in a mass scale. That's why I think it's important that we push back openly. I don't care if I repeat myself 200 times because that's how much they're repeating themselves. These people repeat themselves 1,000 times. Men can be women. We have to do 1,001 time. Men can't be women. Literally, this is the war. Conformity is literally destroying critical thinking, and we are seeing it in real time. We always want, like, this is why they say you need to study history, because history shows you that human beings, we are the same creature. Like, we ain't changed. The only difference between us and our ancestors is we get to learn from their mistakes. But we're still, we're still vulnerable to the same kind of things that happen over there. We always used to wonder, how can they just burn women and sacrifice women and burn them alive in fire? We used to make fun of the oh, look at these primitive humans. They think doing a certain dance will make it rain. We used to like, imagine this. This is why history, like when you study history, it humbles you because you realize, yo, I could have been the same thing if I grew up in that environment. That's when they say, what? That's the start of wisdom. I think the Bible says this too, that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And yo, if the Bible claims this, that is the basic instruction before you leave earth. If the Bible makes a statement, because to me, if you internalize the Bible in a rational form, you can literally say that, hey, God said that you can't replace God. You can't remove God. You only replace him. Right. And I'm in this video also, I'm gonna talk about atheism and Christianity because atheism starting to get on my nerves again. So I want to talk about it. But I want to tie it into the transgender thing. Is like literally you're denying reality. Like you can't do the things women can do. You're not a woman. You don't even have the same chromosomes as them, the same types of chromosomes as them. You're not naturally them, but you think, oh, I can make myself that way. Are you God? This is it. This is it. Because end of the day, I don't want to get to the atheism point yet because I want to save that for later in this live stream. But essentially, this is what it is. Conformity, authoritarianism. Hey, look, you must believe this. Socialists love this. What did Lenin say? Lenin say, if you repeat a lie often enough, the people will believe it to be true. Brainwashing. And this is what's happening to us in real time. And the only way you can counteract that is doing the same thing, repetition. It's a battle of repetition. If they're going to tirelessly say lies, we got to be tirelessly saying the truth. And this is the conclusion I'm starting to come to. This is why they get so mad. This is why they try to censor alternative viewpoints. Because if they let the alternative viewpoints get any airtime or just as much airtime as their lies, they know they can't defend it. Enough of my rambling. Let's continue because this is a fire trailer. I think this is some of the best trailer footage I've ever seen. Yo, Vance, you doing something? Vince is doing something good here. Let's continue.
You don't think you're going to be held responsible? As we look at the Democratic Party and the chaos that they've reigned on our community, our young men, our young women, I have to ask you to look at what they've done to us. Look at what they've done to us. Look at what they've done to us. The Democratic Party is a death machine. Wherever they move, they destroy. That's what they do.
Now, Vince, let's quote him. What Vince say? Whatever they rule, they destroy. Chicago's mayor's a what? A Democrat. Look what he did. $982 million deficit. Didn't New York also was going through the same problem with their immigrants, with their mass migration? Look at the schools. Look at the educational outcomes for people in Baltimore. Everywhere they rule, destroyed. Bad outcomes. Poverty. High crime rates. Look at Chicago. Black men, black people dying by the other hands of other black people. It's self-evident. All you have to do is look. But what the media is going to tell you, oh, don't look at it, or look at it like this. See it as a good thing, right? Remember 2020? I'll never forget that clip. Fires, anarchy, chaos going behind the CNN reporter. It's a fiery but mostly peaceful protest. I said, my God. And they know, hey, we know we outnumber conservatives in the entertainment, in these institutions. This is part of the 48 laws of communism. Every time I go back to this is why I love reading books. Because in the past, it's like, yo, people in the 80s saw this ish coming. A famous socialist, I forgot his name, but he made this quote in the 1959. He says that Americans, you may not accept socialism, but your grandkids will. And it'll come by in bits and pieces, and eventually you'll be in socialism, and you won't even realize that you're already in socialism. And I already made this argument a lot on my channel, but I have stated this openly. We're a socialist country when it comes to the illegal immigrants. Think about it. You got a mayor, an American mayor, who's supposed to be representing the interests of the American people, putting his county, his county in debt to serve illegal immigrants who broke the law to come into your country. $982 million deficit. How much did the illegals contribute to that tax dollars? No. Is it fair for the illegals to be catered to this much? No, especially when they broke a law. When me and you break a law, we go to jail. When the illegals break the law, they get fancy hotels, they get $13,000 EBT cards, but we pay 100% of the cost. How is that fair? Like, we have to ask ourselves, how is that fair? We pay 100% of the cost and they get half the benefit and they didn't contribute nothing? And you're supposed to be an American politician representing the American populace, and you're doing that in our... Hey, look, America. If you vote Democrat, you're reinforcing this stuff. You're encouraging this stuff. You're encouraging a political party to put you last. The lies of the Democrat. How does this benefit America? How is going into debt, $982 million in debt? It's like me going to $1 million in debt to take care of another family. You don't think my wife will be angry? You don't think my kid's going to be like, why are you giving them all this stuff? We're your kids. We're your sons. We have that should be the same outcome that plays out with the Democratic Party. The Democrats should be losing in a landslide. It should be a red supernova in this country. Because it's obvious that the Democratic Party put themselves first and they put America last. They put their interests first because they know with these sanctuary cities, we increase our electoral college because due to the consensus, we get more points for the electoral race. If we're able to naturalize these citizens, illegal immigrants shows a preference for voting overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. Literally can use them to replace the black vote, and black people are still the most loyal Democratic voters. I'm hoping I'm chipping away at that, at least make them more politically aware of what the hell's going on, and at least force the Democratic Party either to change or give the black community more open-mindedness to vote for Trump. Because it's the only way Democrats will change. It's the only way politicians will change. It's the only way politics will change. If you make them suffer a consequence. And the only consequence politicians care about is if they lose an election. You can't reward a party for putting you last. This is why Malcolm X called Democrats political chumps. Because they'll vote for this stuff. And I think it's due to conformity. Because they're supposed to. Oh, you want Trump to win? Condition response, no, then you got to vote for Kamala. That's not a good argument. I'm going to vote for my own destruction. If Kamala was the next Hitler, you going to vote for her still? At least it's not Trump. Conformity is destroying our critical thinking. And I think this is the part of the public school system as well. Because public school system, they teach all this, oh, the party swig. They teach all these narrative propaganda-ish that makes our kids more vulnerable and more prone to think in left-wing viewpoints. Liberalism, you can't escape liberalism in public school. But God forbid you want to teach religion in school. God forbid you want to teach principles in school. Oh, the atheist is going to get mad. But you're allowed to teach political ideology like 1619, which is propaganda history. You're allowed to teach that in school, but God forbid PragerU wants to teach in schools too. I mean, I digress.
Destroyed. They decided to try to infiltrate the black community, and they didn't have any success until they met somebody. Who did they meet? Martin Luther King. And this is where we went wrong. He made sure that he brought the black vote to the Democratic Party. They used the black vote to commandeer the most powerful country in the world. He who the Son has freed is free indeed. Once you accept him, you are free. Anybody in the Democratic Party that tells you any different, he's a liar, he's an apostate, he's an affront to God, and he should be rejected by any Christian walking on this earth. And he's inviting you to go to hell with him. Don't go with him.
It still surprised me in the black community, and this is, I know it's very catered if you're not black or you're not like kind of close to that culture. It's kind of hard to like understand what he's talking about. But in the black community, we're overwhelmingly Christian. Like we are very, like, if you go to the hood, if you go to a predominantly black area, you will find like a church every 2 blocks in the hood. So we're a very religious people. And the sad reality is the fact that these Christians, these black Christians, they overwhelmingly vote for the Democratic Party. This is the conformity I'm talking about. How are you voting for a party that literally is supporting something that goes contradictory to the Bible? The Bible says God made them man and woman. And you voting for a party that says man can be women. Yo, how are you doing that? Conformity. You don't want to be the black person. Oh, you voting for Trump? It's all a game. It's all a game. It's all a social game. This is why black Democrats, black liberals, they feel so comfortable calling you a coon if you think differently from them. How they equate political blackness, like blackness, with voting for the Democratic Party because of conformity. Me, I don't know if it's genetic. I don't know if it was my upbringing from my father because I saw him do it and it gave me permission to do it because I tell you all this time, my dad was a Republican. My dad voted Republican. So I saw it as, oh, it felt like it was natural because I seen, oh, man, my dad's a Republican. Oh, yeah, my dad voted for Bush. Oh, yeah, my dad voted for McCain. Yeah, my dad voted for Obama. I saw it normal for a black man to pick and vote based on ideas. And the first time I ran into this idea that I have to vote for a party because of my skin color is when I turned 18 and my mom tried to pressure me to put Democrat as my registered party. And I said, no, I don't know what the Democrats stand for. Maybe, I don't know what produced this mindset of mine, but I thank God for it because I know it's conformity. And it's sad to see that people are actively voting against their own values and they don't even know it because they've been conditioned to hate a man because he's Donald Trump. Like, imagine that. Imagine being conditioned to hate a person that you never met in your life, who never done anything personal to you. Imagine that. Conformity is the only way you can explain it. And it's baffling to me. So now I want to talk about the elephant in the room. So recently, Trump has been slammed a lot by the pro-lifers. Now, and I made mention to this a little bit before. And look, the reality is most of Americans, they want some form of abortion access. Now, I'm not saying to give up. I'm not saying that Trump shouldn't be more pro-life or whatever, but I'm just saying, yo, on the grand scheme of things, this is the suburban vote that's really the pro-life are kind of arming themselves for. Because Trump came out and he said something about like he was trying to be neutral because he never said he was in favor of it, right? And the pro-lifers are taking this as a victory because they felt like, oh, their pressure campaign caused Donald Trump to vote no on this amendment. It's a Florida amendment that happened recently, 10 days ago in our primaries. And here's the clip.
You overturn,
everyone does.
I think Roe, does, yeah. And you want abortion to be a states' rights issue. In Florida, the state that you are a resident of, there's an abortion-related amendment on the ballot to overturn the 6-week ban in Florida. How are you going to vote on that?
Well, I think the 6 week is too short. It has to be more time, and so and I've told them that I want more weeks.
So you'll vote in favor of the amendment?
I'm voting that, I am going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. Look, just so you understand, everybody wanted Roe v. Wade terminated for years, 52 years.
Now, the reason I'm playing this clip is that, remember, this theme is conformity, right? So many people are saying that, hey, look, Little Rose is making claims that, this is the Trump cult. Y'all guys are throwing away your principles to vote for Donald Trump. And a part of me is like, I understand the idealistic point of view about that. Like, hey, we should be voting people based on our principles, but I live in reality. I don't suffer from imagination. I live in reality. The reality is there's no perfect solutions, only trade-offs. Now, my trade-off is, hey, this guy, Donald Trump, he says abortion is a state right issue. It's not a federal issue. I agree with him on that. Hey, you're right. It's not a federal issue. It's a state's issue. So in your state, you vote how you want to end abortion, not end abortion, because every state's attempt to ban abortion has lost. Not a good track record. To me, that signifies to me, hey, pro-lifers, instead of trying to pressure a politician to push your preferred policy or your outcomes on the American people, you go out there and persuade the American people, because I always stand on this belief. And I think this is one of the things that I think the pro-lifers, they're skipping steps. I think they're trying to take shortcuts here. As a pro-lifer, I can say this. We're skipping steps. Layla Rose, you're skipping steps. Because the point is, you shouldn't be using a politician to pressure the populace into a position. The right way in our republic is the populace pressuring a politician to take a position. And right now, a majority of people do not agree with an abortion ban. That's the reality. Just like a majority of people do not agree with 9-month abortion. There's a point that's too far. And all I'm saying is, yo, as advocates, as activists, you're supposed to go out into the populace, because end of the day, this is the only thing I expect from a politician. Of the people, for the people, by the people. That's it. That's what makes me a populist. Hey, if you're a representative, you better not be trying to pressure me to do squat. You have to convince me. And yes, I understand, yo, Trump needs to be more pro-life, pro-this. But right now, Trump's posture is neutral. Hey, I'm neutral on abortion. I believe it's a states' right issue. As a president, I will not touch abortion. He can give his opinion on abortion. You may not like his opinion on abortion, but I don't care about abortion, because abortion is just one issue. And to me, it's not even the most impactful issue. Now, on principle, yes, it is unjustified to kill a baby merely because it's unwanted. I understand that argument. I understand the ethical questions that come with abortion. I understand it. But from a pragmatic, practical view, can Trump actually do something about this issue? No. Especially if the populace, right? Let's say he ran on an abortion ban. Would that guarantee Trump's loss? I think so. And Layla Rose, like this is an argument against Layla Rose real quick. She likes to tout Ron DeSantis as, oh, look how pro-life Ron DeSantis is. But Ron DeSantis did not pass the 6-week abortion ban until after he won re-election. Hey, like this is what I'm saying. Like y'all holding Trump to a unrealistic kind of perspective that y'all not even holding Ron DeSantis to. And I can say this because I'm a Floridian. Me, Ron, and Trump, we all Floridians. All right. And Ron DeSantis didn't have the guts to pass that abortion bill, that abortion stance, until he won his reelection. Now, you're trying to tell Trump to do the same thing. Posture himself as a pro-life candidate because of principles. Now, this is where I get conflicted, because a part of me, I always struggle with the moral versus the practical. The moral is, yo, I'm pro-life. Look what I've done with him. And he has done that. He can brag about that. Look, I made it more neutral. I made abortion more neutral. People can debate on abortion now. People have actually an avenue to realize both visions. So essentially, I see when Trump says, I leave it to the state with the pro-lifers, essentially he's saying, I leave it to you. I leave it to you, pro-lifers, to talk to the people, convince the populace to to then make it more socially acceptable for politicians to run on abortion. Because I think if you look at some of the polls, and I mention this a lot, emotionalism is very rampant when it comes to the abortion debate, right? Because I approach abortion very logical. Maybe because I'm a man, maybe because I'm kind of disconnected from the issue, so I can be less emotional about it. But if you look at the polls, 38%, you're going to be shocked when I say this, 38% of women, suburban women, sees abortion as their number one issue. Yes, you heard that right. Yes. And second to abortion is illegal immigration. Crime. Imagine that. 19%. Crime, illegal immigration, that's only 19% in the minds of the suburban woman. Wow. So the right to whether to kill your baby or not is a bigger issue than illegals robbing, stealing, threatening, violence, assault. It matters more than all that. So this is an emotional ish. And from a practical point of view, I see why Trump is going the route he's going. And I feel like pro-lifers, they have this thing where it's like their own, look, I say this a lot. It seems like they're trying to compete with abortion because they see the Democrats, like it's like envy, like political envy. They see the Democrats, they can run openly pro-abortion, all this stuff, and they still win elections. While they see the Republicans kind of shying away from the pro-life stance and all that stuff, and they get mad because they're like, yo, on the Democratic side, these abortionists are allowed to be loud and proud about killing babies, and they're still winning elections. And on our side, we're shying away from it. I understand that. But the practical view is that most people seem to agree with abortion. And the Democrats, this is the conformity I'm talking about, and the Lincoln Project also is this is my problem. The pro-lifers don't call out the bad actors in the Republican Party that makes it hard for Republicans to be openly pro-life. Because the media, and I already explained this to you, the media is in the pocket of the Democratic Party. Majority of the media, majority of U.S. journalists are Democrats. So they're always going to frame the Republicans as the bad guy. And that's why I said conformity is destroying critical thinking, because I believe if it was more parallel, like let's say 50% of U.S. journalists were Republicans and 50% of U.S. journalists was Democrats, I think Republicans could be a lot more open about being pro-life, because then it will be framed more honestly. And this is why I said we need to end tribalism in America politics. Because I think the tribalism in the journalism, Democrat journalism, right? 97% of journalists are Democrat, right? Big tech, censorship, all these institutions, Hollywood, the college system, the college institutions, the education system, overrun by Democrats. This is what's creating this perception that, oh my God, any restriction on abortion is sin. Conditioning, mental conditioning. And I'm just saying, pro-lifers, y'all got work to do. We got work to do. We got work to do. We got to talk to the culture. We got to make videos. We got to make our case. We got to debate. We got to get out there more. And yes, it's not the sexy option, right? It's going to take time, because 70 what? Roe v. Wade was in 1972. 50 years? 50 years that women had this perception that they were allowed to kill their baby on based on their convenience, based on its convenience to them. In my view, it's going to take at least that to bring it more in the middle. That's just my argument. But you going into Trump, telling Trump to take on a posture that majority of Americans don't agree. Pro-lifers, we are skipping steps. We have not built a solid foundation to be able to pressure politicians to take a more open abortion stance. They like to brag about Ron DeSantis, but look, as a Floridian, Ron DeSantis didn't even put the 6-week ban until after he won re-election, until it was politically safe for him to do that, because he knew it could affect his chances of winning the election. And now Donald Trump's doing the same posture, and y'all criticizing him. Like, make it make sense. Y'all, this is the type of stuff that bothers me in politics. This is why part of me is like, I don't want to register Republicans if y'all gonna be like this. But end of the day, Donald Trump says he voted no against the Amendment 4. So let's react to that clip.
Voting yes or no on Amendment 4 in Florida.
So I think 6 weeks, you need more time than 6 weeks. I've disagreed with that right from the early primaries. When I heard about it, I disagreed with it. At the same time, the Democrats are radical because the 9 months is just a ridiculous situation that where you can do an abortion. And
so you see, neutral. This is like end of the day, like this is the purity test. This is the conformity that I'm talking about in the Republican Party, where Layla Rose is going to be like anything other than the right, life is sacred, all this. No, as a politician, I expect him to stay pragmatic and practical. As a politician, you get punished for being idealistic. Look at Vivek Ramaswamy. To me, he was the most idealistic candidate in the Republican Party. He lost. He only got 8% of the vote. Nikki Haley got more votes than Vivek Ramaswamy. So I don't understand this posturing from the pro-lifers. Like, you want Kamala to win? And then if she set back the progress that Donald Trump allowed to make, because you didn't even have a seat at the table as a pro-lifer, because you knew every state was required to have some form of abortion access because of Roe v. Wade. Trump made it equal for you. And instead of, hey, thank you, the man, say, look, you got us one step closer to our end goal. No, you ain't do enough. Like I said, if you expect perfection, you get 100% of nothing. At least get a percentage of nothing. At least you get a guy that's saying, hey, it's neutral. He calls at least he's a candidate that calls out the extremes on both, right? Because right now it's an extreme position to say you want an abortion ban. I'm being honest. Politics is a downstream of culture. Culture is not a downstream of politics. And this is the mistake I think pro-lifers are making with this pressure campaign against Donald Trump. It's just a difference of opinion. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. Just a difference of opinion. Let's continue with the clip.
In the 9th month, and some of the states like Minnesota and other states have it where you could actually execute the baby after birth, and all of that stuff is unacceptable. So I'll be voting no for that reason.
Voting yes or no on
and they made a whole hoopla on X. Oh my God, he support Donald Trump support abortion. We got to pick between 2 abortion candidates. If you follow me on X, I was railing against this. I'm like, yo, this is some annoying ish right here. But I digress. So I want to focus on the next segment on Kamala. Yes, we're going to react on Kamala because if she wins, bro, I'll be more than disappointed, right? I'll be very disappointed. Like, that's why I think I do these videos. Like, I don't care if I make any money. I don't give a damn about the money. I don't care about none of this. Like, I don't give a damn. All I care about is, America, please be logical about this. Please. Look, I'm not saying be a robot, right? But have some rationale about this choice you got. Look, pick the worst trade-off. Pick the one that gives you the best trade-off. Trump gives you the best trade-off. You're not going to get everything you want. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. So don't expect perfection in politics. Politics is about trade-offs. Who gives you most of what you want for the best bargain for your vote? That's how you should be thinking about this. And I'm pleasantly surprised about some of the reactions to the Kamala interview that I have seen on my comment section and also online. This being an example of one of them. Let's take a quick look, guys.
Do you feel some kinship towards her as a mixed person?
Not personally. I find a lot of her trajectory to not be my brand of woman leader. We've got 3 major international crises going on and someone applying to be commander-in-chief. As a woman, I want to see you do more than, appeal to giggling and having a girl moment on the stage.
Exactly. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you, the kin of my sons, right? Because my sons are mixed race as well. So maybe in 20 years, they're going to have my son on a focus group, guys. So I'm glad that people ain't falling for it. I'm happy. Honestly, I'm happy, right? But it goes to show, like, to be pleasantly surprised, like, I'm going to show you a dichotomy, right? And this is how they get conformity in the first place. This is how they get buy-in, right? Dana Bash seems different when she interviews a Republican. I know this is not breaking news, but I think it makes it's worth it to illustrate this for people who may not be so in tune with politics like some of us are. Let's take a look.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus.
That Dana Bash is such a friendly journalist. Holy moly, look at that face. There's rage behind those eyes. Oh, I get it. She's interviewing that Republican, J.D. Vance. Here she is interviewing Kamala Harris. What a difference. Look at this. She can't even talk without a schoolgirl.
Oh my God, yo. And this is 97% of US journalists, right? Like, look, US journalist. Let's see, because I might be called a liar for this. Maybe a Democrat will see this and get mad at me for saying that. No, key findings. Let's see. Washington Times, 2023. Only 3.4% of U.S. journalists are Republican, survey says. Okay, now that I proved my point, expect 97% of journalists, when they interview a Democrat, they're doing this or they're doing this on the inside and trying not to show this. This is why I laugh when journalists like, we just do our job. We call it down the middle. Yeah, you're gonna try to call it down the middle, but you're gonna give it a little bit more. It's not quite straight down the middle. You're gonna go like a little bit like this. This is when they say they're calling it down the middle, right? And it's just baffling to me how. Like, I think America needs to wake up, man. I honestly think, like, we need to wake up. You need to know the reality of what the hell's going on. The truth is, hey, 97% of your news might have a bias towards the Democrats, and you have to filter for that. You have to know that, right? Just like my son, I tell him, hey, look, you're not invincible. You're not Superman. You're not Spider-Man. Right now, my 4-year-old son, he's in the Spider-Man phase. You're not Spider-Man. You have limits. You have to understand, hey, the media has limits. 97% of their journalists are likely Democrats. So that means it's on to you to, make sure, hey, you got to bake that in when you hear them speak. Kamala Harris is such a good candidate. Okay, that's a positive spin on that. Let me see for myself. Do I think so? Or they're trying to condition me? They're trying to conform my mind to see it the same way they see it. Right? I see 2 + 2 = 4 and everyone says 5. Am I going to be the person that says, nah, it's 4? And this is the game they're trying to play. Because at the end of the day, it's in our DNA. We are social creatures. We are. I'm just saying. Now, we're going to talk about atheism real quick. Because Tim Pool, he might start something. Let me let me scroll down and find the video that I want to react to. And it's going to be an interesting discussion, guys. I promise you. I promise you that it's going to be an interesting discussion. So I found this clip, and Tim Pool decided to comment on atheism. And this is some of the reasons why I think I never personally was an atheist, and I'll probably never be an atheist. Because to me, and this is just my personal view, atheists pretend to be deterministic about the existence of God when in reality they don't know squat, right? In my argument, right, this is why I don't like atheists. Atheists, to me, they're intellectually arrogant. They tend to be intellectually dishonest because they make a bunch of assumptions and correlations the same way Christians make assumptions and correlations, right? The Bible predicted the Big Bang Theory. That's something you can't take away from the Bible. You can't take that away from Christianity. Christianity, in a rational form, they argue that there's an intellectual designer that exists. And if you look at the world's pretty ordered. Like, right? Like, the world has patterns. Patterns, how you say it? Patterns imply order. Because this is what created science. Because at the end of the day, they like Scientologists, scientists, they don't like to admit this, but science came from the Catholic Church, came from the Roman Catholic Church. Because science's purpose was to prove God's existence. And people pretend that science disproved God's existence when in reality it didn't. It gave you theories essentially to make you believe God doesn't exist. Hot take, atheism is a belief system. You heard I said what I said. Atheism is a belief system. Just as much as Christianity is a belief system, the only difference between Christianity and atheism, the Christians are honest about it. I believe God exists for this reason. Atheist, God doesn't exist because I can't prove he exists. Like, look how arrogant. Look, I promise I'll play the video. But look how arrogant atheists are. we calculate that the Earth has been around what? The world's been created billions of years, millions of years. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this, but this is just my assumption. And how long humans been intellectual? Like how long? Maybe in the millions. So this galaxy world, billions of years. You live. There's less collective knowledge. Like we don't even have maybe what 10% of the time to actually fully understand the world. You are a human, a speck of dust on the surface of a planet. And you think you know for sure God doesn't exist because your feeble technology doesn't have the capabilities to verify that. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Oh, it's impossible to go to the moon. We didn't have the technology we have now. So because like make it make sense. People didn't know the gender of their child until it was actually born. But now we have the technology to know the gender of our child. Hell, in some cases, we can pick the gender of our child if you're doing IVF because technology has come so far. But you, with no definitive proof, God doesn't exist. Why? Oh, I can't prove it. I can't see him. I can't touch him. If God exists, why would he let cancer be in the world? Why he would let young kids die in the hands of war? And I'm like, I'm sitting there looking at it like, yo, I'm looking at like you don't hear the arrogance in that? Like I'm being intellectually humble like that. Like think about this. I like to equate it to the phone. Like if I'm God, let's say I'm God, right? Because kings do this. A king can break his own law, and who's gonna hold him accountable? You peasant, you gonna hold the king accountable for breaking one of his own laws? You don't have the power to do that. That's the same argument I make to an atheist. Who are you to question God? If God exists, who are you to question him? This is his world. You just live in it. Literally. It's God's world. You just live in it. That's how he made the world. If you're so mad, make your own. Oh, wait, you can't. Like, just like this, if I'm bending if I decide to break my phone, you can be like, oh, how stupid are you to break your phone? I'm like, it's my phone. God, it's my world. Yeah, kids die. Yes, hurricanes destroy y'all. Like, yo, you're just a speck of dust. Compared to like all this ish, you just a speck like this. You're minuscule. If I'm playing the rational argument, like, yo, okay, let me not take Christianity's framing of the creator, but who the hell are you? Objective. So quick answer, quick summary of my tirade. Objective answer. We don't know. Who's more honest? Christians. Christians say we believe God exists. Atheists are dishonest because they pretend they know God doesn't exist. I mean, I digress. I'm just saying. So let's hear this lady's 3 reasons for why she's an atheist and see what I have to say about that.
3 reasons, among many, that I am an atheist. Have you ever noticed that most people are the religion of their parents? You'd think that if there was one super obvious religion...
One question. You're an atheist because that is the religion of your society. I already told you. Hey, look, don't at me. Don't at me. The reason why people are atheists is because they've been conditioned to be atheists. Look at schools. You're not allowed to teach what in schools? Dude, you're not allowed to teach the Bible. You're not allowed to teach religion in schools. Why? Because of religious freedom. Right? But that's not the case. You're censoring shit. That's censorship. This is the critique against liberalism. You're allowed to teach atheism in school, secularism in school, humanism in school, Darwin's theory of evolution in school, but you're not allowed to teach religion in school. So I'm playing her social engineering argument right back at her. You're only an atheist because it's been projected as being the cool thing. Oh, smart people are atheists, right? On TV, they make the religious person look crazy. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. We're the least religious we ever been in American history, and look at the mental depression we got going on. Liberals are more likely to be atheists than Republicans. How do you know this, Kenny? Well, in my book, the book I read, Naked Socialist talks about how it's essential to be a true socialist. You must be an atheist because an atheist will do what's necessary to bring in the utopia. But if you're a Christian, they'll see you as less of a socialist because they think your morality is going to get in the way of ushering in socialism, right? For instance, if someone says, hey, you have to lie and you bring in socialism, a Christian socialist may not do it, but an atheist socialist will do it. I'm just saying, this is one of the reasons why I'm not a socialist. I'm not a socialist. I'm not an atheist. I think atheists, you're more prone to be bad people. I mean, some of the worst people in history were atheists. Stalin, Hitler, they were atheists. They didn't believe in no God. They think the material world is all that existed, and they think they were superior because they were in power. And this is the reality. The atheist only moral barometer is who has power, who don't have power. This is why atheists, and this is the funny part about atheists when they try to project themselves as so intellectual, so smart. They're some of the dumbest people. They believe they're more likely to believe that a man could be a woman than a Christian is. Think about this. Atheist's biggest argument: I don't believe in immaterial things. That's the atheist argument. Christians, yeah, men can't be women and women can't be men. Atheists, yes, they can. Cognitive dissonance. How is that not a zealous corner for the atheist? Oh, you don't believe me? Look up the research. Atheists are more likely to believe in transgenderism than Christians. Christians' Bible tell them man can be women, men can't be women. God made them man and woman. That means the Creator designed us not to be able to conform to become the other person. Atheists, men can be women. That's some inconsistency there. Like, what physical proof do you see that this man is a woman? This woman got a and you think that's a woman? That's a man. No, we can't. That's why they go for the social construct. Oh, it's a social construct. Okay. I believe in definitions. Yes, we all believe in definitions. What is the definition of a man? Adult, human, male. Okay, what creates a male? How we designate males? XY chromosomes. Okay, so this man calls himself a woman. Does that make him a woman? The atheist will tell you yes. And you're like, what in the material world tells you that? If the person did not express that he was a woman, you wouldn't know he was a woman. You would think he was a man. Literally contradicting the very core of their worldview. But you still believe that atheism isn't a belief system. Craziness.
Then everyone would have converted to that by now. But instead, most people are the religion that their parents are affiliated with. If there is a God, then he must be a really horrible person. It's not uncommon to hear believers say, "Oh, God saved my baby, what a miracle," even though that same God is completely ignoring all of the babies dying in extreme poverty.
Let me bring this down. Like that's arrogance. Who are you? Like, who are you? If you ran the world would be shitty too. Like this is my argument. This is my argument. Because think about it this way. Oh my God, let's bring it down in a level atheists can understand. Oh my God, the king saved my baby. Okay, that person will be thankful because what? That person got the king's grace. Okay. Another scenario. Oh my God, the king let all these babies die. Okay, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? Can you do something about it? No. But you mad, oh yeah, it must be a shitty king because babies died. Babies died under Kamala Harris. Do you call her a shitty president? I mean, oh, but God controls everything. Right? And this is the point part. They don't actually argue the point, hey, does God exist or not? They just try to make you believe that it will be a bad thing if God exists. Or they make you judge the world based on your limited life experience to make judgment on something that existed long before you was even a thought. Like, imagine that. God is literally the acknowledgement that something existed past time, space, and matter. I had a ball. My son left his soccer ball in here. I would have used it perfectly for my example. But literally, time, space, and matter. And we all know the law. Let's do science. Let's think like scientists here. Cause and effect. For the world to be created, there must be a cause. What is the cause? That's a hard answer for a lot of atheists. So what are they going to tell you? Oh, don't you think it's bad that hurricanes kill babies, women get killed? Oh, the world's so unfair. Yeah, but you're judging it based on your view because atheism, right? Since you don't believe in a God, it's hard for you to view things objectively. This is my argument. This is why I'm not an atheist, because I believe there is an objective standard. That's why I'm more like a Stoic. Stoic believes that there's a truth. Logos, right? There's a truth. God, and in the Bible, God said he's the truth, the light, and the way. So essentially, in a way, Stoics are looking for God, right? That's how I perceive Stoicism in my weird way. But I was raised by Christianity too. I was a product of my environment. But So is your genetics. So is how you look. Like, you get everything from your parents. Why wouldn't you get the religion of your parents? Like, make it make sense. But why don't you have, like think about it this way? And she admitted something very like she thought she was making an argument, but I think she made it something very like damning for atheism. If you grew up in a religious household, how did you came across atheism? Most likely in what? School. Okay, what you're not allowed to teach in school? Religion. So that means you're going into an institution that doesn't reinforce the beliefs and values of your parents. What that will cost to you? Conflict. And there's studies that show that kids raised in homeschool parent, like if you homeschool your kids are 10 times more likely to have the same values as you. Why? Because you're the only influence around that kid, at least at that level. In schools, right? 8 hours a day. They say the average time that a parent spend with their kid is an hour a day without accounting for when you drop them off, when you brush your teeth, and when you put them to bed. As a parent, you only got 1 hour with your kids. Public school got 8 hours with your kids. 8 hours with your kids where your kids is not exposed to any religious ideas. And you're surprised it came out atheist. The atheist is going to pretend like the kid sat there 8 hours a day was around their parents and then be like, I don't think God exists, mommy. Nah, you were taught to be an atheist, right? You just chose to adopt those social values versus your parents' social values. I'm just saying, like, make it make sense. You get your hair color from your mom, maybe. You get your eye color probably from your dad. Like, you get everything from your parents. And she think it's some great revelation there. Yeah, people who tend to be raised by Christian parents tend to turn out Christian. Duh.
Poverty across the world. It seems to me like God favors those who already live in affluent societies who have access to great medical care.
That's a lie. So one of the arguments that atheists, this is the problem with atheists. They make a lot of these assumptions. They try to control your perception because in the Bible, God said, "Hey, I gave you free will." Right? I set the stage for you, and you go out and do what you want, but you're gonna face obstacles. You're gonna face hardship because that's part of the human experience. This is how I designed the world. If you think I'm lying, there's one story in Christianity that I always refer back to whenever I face hard times. It's the story of Job. Read the story of Job. Job lost everything. Wife died, kids died. He was the richest man. He became the poorest man. He lived like a homeless man, a bum. Everyone mocked him, make fun of him. If it was an atheist, and this was a bet between him and the devil, positive energy, negative energy, I bet you he'll curse your name if you took all his goods. Because the reason why he believes in God is because look how wealthy you made him. Look how beautiful you made his kids, his wife. Of course he loves you, but I bet you if you take all of the way, he'll hate you. And it's a story. It illustrates human nature. Because if you put an atheist in that same position, he'll curse God. That's what atheists show. They curse God. They got no moral. They got no principles because they live for what? Pleasure. And that's what the Bible is kind of illustrating to you. That you have to live beyond pain and pleasure. Because you can. You're capable of that. Because what? You have free will. You're not controlled by anything. You're only controlled by things you give power to. And God said you should submit yourself to me, aka something that exists outside the physical world. I'm telling you, if you rationalize the Bible, you can make coherent arguments for why you think God exists or why God is why the belief in God is more beneficial for society than not believing God doesn't exist. Because Nietzsche admitted it himself. Nietzsche believes that, I thought without God, man will be a Superman. But in reality, he found that it left a gaping hole in the psyche of man because he believed men can create their own meaning. And this is the same arrogance that the atheists think they have. We can create our own meaning. We're social creatures. Yes, we're this, that. But in my lifetime, when atheists create their own meaning, it's merely a chase of pleasure. Self-aggrandizement, ego. Because at the end of the day, the only moral parameters that atheists believe in is power. Because in atheists' worldview, they don't believe in an objective morality. They believe in a subjective morality. But they contradict themselves because then they say right and wrong. You're an atheist. what is right or wrong? Right or wrong is based on your position relative to what the thing that's happening is. If the Lakers lose, that's a bad thing that happened because I'm a Lakers fan. But if I'm not a Lakers fan and the Lakers lose, I'm happy about it. That's moral relativism. While the objective will be, hey, that team cheated. He deserves to lose. It was bad that this happened. The objective is Lakers lost the game. But the minute you put a framing on things, oh, this is bad. Oh, it's bad. Who says it's bad that a child died? How you know that wasn't a future Hitler about to be born? But you think it's bad because, oh my God, kids are starving in Africa. Oh my God, God seems to favor those. No, God's like, yo, you create your own fate. I'm going to send setbacks. You're going to have failures, right? The Stoics talk about it too. The Stoics says, this is your fate. And you must walk in your fate gracefully. Act as if you wanted this to happen to you, right? That's how Stoics see adversity. Adversity is a good thing because what lessons is this adversity teaching me? The story of Job. And then once you get past that adversity, you got more wealth, more. So you have an even beautiful wife. You have even more kids. You have even more because you pass the trials. Because life is about ups and downs, peaks and valleys. But atheists seem to lost that because all they care about is being in pleasure. All they care about is being happy when that is unrealistic. That's an imagination, right? This is a flaw in atheism. I'm criticizing atheism. That's crazy. But let's continue. I'll let her finish out her thoughts, and then I got another video for you about atheism.
But if you bring this up to believers, they'll say some nonsense about how God has to test some people. There's also just no evidence.
What do you mean, God, like, that's the way the world was created. Nothing is like this. Like, name me a time in history, like, when history was like this. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, God wants to test people. No, God made it the way it is. Free will. You choose how you want to approach the obstacle. Like, these people, when atheists talk, they show me they never read the Bible. They just make assumptions about the Bible based on their purview. And then they want to portray themselves as so intellectual.
That God exists. And sure, I've heard tons of personal anecdotes about miracles and seeing things that couldn't be explained, but to me, every time I hear a story like that, there's always a more logical explanation for the phenomenon. Some say the human body is evidence that God exists, but it's riddled with design issues. We get addicted easily.
Riddled with design issues. When you're a creator, it's a feature, not a bug, right? So you coming out here, you're criticizing how the human body was made. Like, think about the intellectual arrogance. Oh, there's a lot of inefficiencies with, no, you have preferences. You wish you didn't have to have a period just to have kids. You think that's a design flaw because what? It's inconvenient to you. Like, make it make sense. People have criticism about Android all the time. Oh my God, it has such a design flaw. But then some people, that same design flaw is a feature that they love about the phone. Subjectivity. That's what I'm talking about. There's no objectivity with atheists. Low functioning people, bro. I'm sorry, not low functioning people, but everything's based on pleasure. How I would like the human body to be. And because it doesn't fit my preference, I don't like it. Atheism in disguise is a worship of yourself. I believe I can run the world better. I believe I can design the human body better. I mean, I digress.
Our eyes are too weak, we need surgery constantly, and before modern medicine, women died in childbirth all the time.
I mean, y'all still complain y'all die in childbirth. What are you talking about? Oh my God. So Tim Pool, his commentary, atheists are trapped in a lower order thinking. Instead of asking questions of existence, they question history. I agree. They tend to think God equals human belief instead of thinking of physics and the universe. Like my argument, intellectual design. Okay, you think God doesn't exist? Okay, explain to me how things don't happen in random, right? You complain about the design of the human body, and the reason why some Christians say, yo, your body's existence that God exists is that create a human without using a human, right? Because it's the recursion theory. The only way you exist is because you know there's two people that existed before you. And then you go down the chain and you know it can go on forever. You know the only reason you exist now is because someone existed before. It's a chain that links you to the beginning of time, space, and matter. And there has to be a source of that. That's the mechanical argument for why the human body exists. But what this lady said.
3 reasons among many.
What this lady said. She said that the human body is riddled with inefficiencies. Inefficiencies according to who? And the minute you specify who, I say subjective. That's an opinion. Like I had an atheist complain about mucus. Oh my God, why do we need mucus for? Mucus is such a useless thing. And I'm sitting there looking at this guy. I'm like, you pretend you're so smart? I said, mucus, humans, we're a social creature. Mucus notifies everyone else, oh, this person's sick. Let's stay away from him. Oh, we could get sick if we're near him. Mucus, I think it's supposed to trap bacteria too. But because mucus is so inconvenient, I gotta blow it out. I gotta, so next thing you're gonna tell me is pain is useless too? Oh, why do we feel pain? To know the world around us, to make sure we don't further kill ourselves, hurt ourselves. Atheists, y'all got some problems, bro. Y'all this is what I'm saying. Atheists, they don't debate on the actual substance of the argument. Okay, can I prove God doesn't exist? That's what the atheists are supposed to prove, but instead they try to control your framing, your perception, because atheists believe perception is reality. That's the inconvenient truth about atheism. Don't shoot me. That's the inconvenient truth about atheism. They believe that perception is reality. If a man believes he's a woman, he's a woman. Even though objectively he's lying. Even objectively he's delusional. But I believe there's something that exists past space, matter, and time. I'm the crazy one. Okay, 1 minute clip. This comedian simplifies the argument about atheism and Christianity. And in my view, and if you're just coming in, I believe atheism is a belief system just like Christianity is. And I think Christians are more right on this because Christians are more honest about their position. Christians will tell you, I believe God exists. Atheists will pretend that God doesn't exist. They like to pretend, oh, I can't prove it, so he's not real. You can't prove that I was born, but you know I'm real. Oh, I can see you, obviously. Okay, you have faith you're going to wake up tomorrow. What evidence do you have to support that you're going to wake up tomorrow morning? Oh, well, I woke up the past time. Oh, really? History, prove future results. Okay, you increase your stock market by 20%. Is that going to happen tomorrow? You don't know. Oh, yeah, how convenient. You don't know. It's so funny how atheists pretend that they don't have any faith, but they practice faith every day. But they want to lecture Christians for practicing faith about their beliefs and call it crazy. I digress.
Some people think God created the universe. Some people think nothing created the universe, which is the funniest guess. And the nothing people make fun of the God people. They say God doesn't exist. I'm like, okay, maybe. But you know what definitely doesn't exist? Nothing. That's the defining characteristic of nothing, is that it doesn't exist.
Oh my God.
So what are we talking about? Either you think it's God, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove, or you think it's nothing, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove. But I think we can all agree, if your nothing sometimes spontaneously erupts into everything, that's a pretty goddamn magical fucking nothing, you guys.
Hey, look, that's big. That's the Big Bang, right? The Bible illustrates, to me, the closest thing that proves how the world existed, the Bible have a closer story to it. Oh, these are just stories. These didn't happen. But that's a better explanation than what you can give. Richard Dawkins, I read his book, The God Delusion, and I thought, yo, this man has not made a single argument for why God doesn't exist. All he does is poke fun at religious people. Exactly how this guy framed it. This is why I don't have a good opinion on atheists, because they rely on the fact they don't attack the argument, they attack the person, right? And that's always been a weakness for me. I always been open to that. Attack the person's argument, don't attack the person. But this is how they do it. This is how atheists mostly they do their attacks, right? Maybe I'll react to a debate. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to react to a debate between atheists and Christianity, and I'll give my thoughts like I did. But this guy succinctly in 46 minutes explained what I just explained damn near for 20 minutes, I think. Let's continue. This is funny.
And ask the nothing people, what happens when you die? They'll tell you, nothing. You go into nothing. I'm like, you mean you merge back with your creator? That's heaven, bitch.
Hey, hey. I'm just saying that this is how conformity destroys critical thinking, because honestly, what's more culturally acceptable right now in this day and age in 2024? To be a Christian or to be an atheist? Right now, Christianity is seen as counterculture, right? And I think it's due to the fact that most of the faculty are on the left. I told you leftists are more likely to be atheists than people on the right. So I believe the reason why atheism is so popular, or at least perceived to be popular, is because of conformity, because of psychological operations, because of the fact that that's the only thing that's allowed to be taught in institutions, at least in public school, because they banned the Bible out of public school because of religious rights. Oh, we don't want to teach a religion, but atheism, in my view, I can make this argument, it's a religion. It's a religion based on power. It's a religion based on the human perception is reality. But you mad because I believe that there's something out here, like this didn't all happen out of nothing, right? Like the world isn't random. Like, how you can explain that? The world is not random. Oh, it's like simulation theory, or it's like they think of it like a computer. But I'm like, yo, there needs to be some logic guiding the computer when they're making all these computations, right? Like everyone's seeing that, hey, look, physics itself is like code. Like, think about it. If you're a software engineer, when you create something, it has a purpose to being created. And think about it this way. And I think this is the easiest way I can explain like my kind of ideas about existence. When you're an engineer, you create something. Someone's gonna have like there's always gonna be some critic who knows less than you, like the end user. The end user is gonna see your engineering and be like, why the seats are designed like this? Oh my God, these seats are not comfortable. Like they're not made for the human body. And I'm like, bruh, it's gonna force you to sit up straight. What you talking about? Because I know the reason for why I designed the car a certain way. But the end user doesn't know that. End user come in, sits in the car. He go, if it's not met to their specifics, they'll criticize it. And that's how I see it. Atheists criticizing like reality. The body's inefficient. According to who? You're not God. Like, think about it. We talk about peer review studies. Hey, only a peer can really justify and criticize the work of someone else. Only an engineer can criticize your design because really they have just as much access, just as much information as you. But are you equal to God? Answer is no. That's the idea. Like, yo, you live less than the entire existence of the world, and you think you know it better. Like, come on, that's kind of arrogant to me. I'm just saying. But this is the conformity, right? We live in a culture that pushes people's self-esteem over self-control. Because I think it takes a lot of self-control to be humble enough and be like, I don't know. I don't know if God doesn't exist. I don't think he exists because of X, Y reasons. Because everyone who practice these things are bad, but who killed more people, atheism or Christianity? Atheism, hands down. Because they got Hitler, Lenin. They were atheists. Hitler was an atheist. Lenin was an atheist. What that Chinese dude? I forgot his name. Mao was an atheist. Bruh, you know how many bodies these people? Shoo. Well, Christianity's so bad. Oh. But we're teaching a belief system that took more human lives than any other ideological system. But we're teaching it in schools. But God forbid you teach the Bible. Hey, look, man. I'm just giving you my thoughts, my ideas. I've been at it for an hour and 23 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Right, this is my take on conformity, how it's hurting critical thinking. Like, we got people being conformed to, character assassinate, try to make narratives instead of just debating on truths and steel man arguments. Like people want a straw man instead of steel man, right? But I think we've just been conditioned to have a certain line of thought and thinking, and I think it's really hurting us, our election, our culture, our the knowledge system within our countries. Like, it takes a lot of guts now to disagree with someone. It takes courage to disagree with someone because the conformity machine is just so ingrained in our society. It's crazy to me, right? And I think I gave my point pretty much succinctly, I think. So I'll let you guys go. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the stream. Shout out to the 4 concurrent viewers that are watching this stream. I hope you guys have a happy Labor Day weekend. I think we all needed this long weekend. And I'll catch you guys next week on Live with Kenny. Peace out. Take care. See you on the next one. Bye.